what I'd like to do in this video is create some stairs. Problem is with this is we have some differing floor slab heights, so we're gonna have to adjust for that. After we put the stairs in, I want to create a shaft opening, then trim our framing around them. So under projects, let's go open. Let's find stairs and let's click open. Let's go to level 1 structural plan. I'm going to zoom into this area right about here. I'm going to put them right in this bay. Let's go to the architecture tab. Let's click on the stair button right here. I want level 1 to be level 2, but I know that my top offset needs to be 5 inches to accommodate for my slab offset. So I'm going to click apply. The location of the line, let's make it be run center. And my base level is level 1, my top level is level 2. So I'm going to pick a point right about here. Go straight out. I'll have 11 created, 11 remaining. I'm going to pick a point here. I'm going to come down about 6 feet. I'm going to pick a point right here, and I'm going to come straight back. You can go way past the stairs if you want to. All the stairs are there. There's not much to do, but click on Finish Edit Mode. I'm going to hit Escape. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the section because I want to make sure that my offset was right. So I'm going to pick a point here. I'm going to come across to here. I'm going to pull this in so I don't get too confused. Hit Escape a couple times. I'm going to open up my section marker. I'm going to zoom into here. Now I want to make sure my thin lines are turned on so I can get some clear measurements here. I'm going to click on my measure between two references point here. Go to the top of my tread to here. 6 and 99, 128. Oh boy. So I'm going to pick a point right here and come straight down. 6 and 99, 128. Okay, so that worked. I'm going to hit Control Tab and go back down to my floor plan, and I'm going to hit Escape. Now I'm going to select my stairs. I'm going to click on Copy to Clipboard. I'm going to click the Paste drop down. And I'm going to click Aligned to Selected Levels. I'm going to paste it up to level 2. I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm going to go up to level 2. I'm going to hit Escape a couple times. I'm going to select my stairs. I'm going to click on Edit Stairs. The problem with this one is I know my base offset also needs to be 5 inches. I'm going to click Apply. I'm going to click Finish. And Escape a couple times. We'll go to a 3D view. Problem is we can't see stairs at all. So type VG for visibility graphics. Let's scroll down to stairs and let's turn them on. Click Apply. Click OK. There they are. Now what I want to do with this staircase is select it. Let's make sure our multi-story top level instead of none. We'll click the drop down and we're going to go up to level 4 and click Apply. I always like to make sure it's going to work before I do this. So now we're going all the way up to our top possible floor. Escape a couple times. One last thing is I want to put a little C channel on here. So I'm going to load a C channel profile. I'm going to go to Insert. I'm going to go Load Family. I'm going to scroll down to Profiles. I'm going to go to Framing. I'm going to go to Steel. I'm going to double click on C Channel Profile. I'm going to grab a C10 by 20. I'm going to click OK. Now I can select my stairs. Now if I click Edit Type, I'm going to come down to my supports. I'm going to go to my right support type and set a string or 2-inch width. I'm going to click on my Builder button right here. And for my section profile, I'm going to click the drop down. I'm going to grab C Channel Profile. I'm almost sure I got to flip it. So click on the Flip Section Profile button. Click Apply. Click OK. Click OK again. Oh yeah, that was good. Okay, now let's resolve this issue. Let's go down to level 1. What we need to do here is create what's called a shaft opening. This is definitely on the test. Go to the Structure tab. Go to Shaft under Openings. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my Pick Lines button. I'm going to go here, to here, to here, to here. and then to here. Got a lot of trimming to do. Type TR for trim. Well, here. Trim from here to here. From here. Oh, we need one more line, so I'm going to click on Pick Lines. Upside. Type TR for trim. Trim this up. We're going to trim here to here. Now remember, when you're trimming, you want to pick the line that you want to keep. So we're going to pick this line here. TR for trim one more time. Get that one there. Now, our base constraint's level 1. Our base offset will be 0. Our top constraint wants to go up to level 4. Let's give it like a 1 foot offset just to make sure it clears the floor up there. I think we're good. Now click on Finish Edit Mode. Escape a couple times. Go to a 3D view. We've got stairs are coming up. We're getting the landing just right. And we've got some bearing so that we can bear our stairs on top of it. Excellent. One problem is you're going to hit your face on the framing. So what we need to do is cut the framing out of that shaft. So I want to go down to level 2. This is going to be pretty easy. Let's make sure our thin lines are turned off. I'm just going to frame this in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this W12 by 26. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to create similar. I'm just going to draw it from about here to here. I'm going to draw another one from about here to here. I'm going to grab both of these framing members. I'm going to make them be joists instead of purlins. Apply. Now I'm going to select this framing member and I'm going to unpin it. I'm going to select this framing member and I'm going to unpin it. Now I'm going to type SL for split. I'm going to make sure I delete inner segment. So I'm going to select this framing member. So I'm going to hover over this and hit my tab key. If I get to the right one, I'm going to pick it. I'm going to tab down here. I'm going to pick it and it gets rid of it. Same thing here. You might have to tab a few times before you get to it. Pick it. Down here, pick it. Now when we go to a 3D view, we'll see that we're framed out around that opening like we should be. You can repeat the procedure on the next few floors, but as far as I'm concerned, we're done with stairs. Let's go to level 1 structural plan. Also put a ramp over here, I guess. On the architecture tab, let's click the ramp button. Instead of ramp 1, let's click edit type. Let's duplicate it. Let's call it concrete ramp. Let's hit OK. Let's not mess with anything here. We'll put it in, then we'll come back and mess with some stuff. Let's click OK. Now what we need to do is specify the base and top level. Level 1 to level 2. Can you imagine how long this ramp would be? It would be really long. So let's just do a short ramp. Let's go level 1 to level 1. Or for the base offset, let's go minus 2 foot 6. Click apply. Let's go down to the width. Let's make it 6 feet wide. A grand. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to pick a point like, I don't know, right about here. I'm going to start drawing my ramp out. Based on a 112 pitch, we've got 0-inch of incline ramp created, 30 feet remain. So it makes sense to come out 15 feet, right? Let's come out 15 feet so we can have a landing. Now what I want to do is I want to come out from the bottom line here. We don't have any increments, but I'm going to pick a point like right here. I'm going to come straight down like that. Here we go. It's a ramp. I'm going to click on Finish. I'm going to go to 3D View. And I'm not sharp to see that we can't see ramps. So let's type VG. Let's scroll down to ramps. Let's turn them on. If we zoom in, notice that we can turn on down arrows, down text, hidden lines, all that stuff. So let's click apply. Click OK. Uh-oh, it's in the wrong direction. It's thin, and I don't even think it's concrete. That's okay. Let's go to level 1. Let's select our ramp. The first thing we need to do is we need to click on this little flip stairs up direction arrow. Click that. Looks like we have a gap here too, so we might as well click our Move button. Let's go from the face of our ramp to the face of our building. Let's go to 3D view now. So now we're coming straight in, and it's aligning right to the face of that wall. It's deceiving when we look at it in 3D because it looks like it's a little bit shorter than it, but it's not. So our ramp is going down, down. So let's stay in 3D. Let's select our ramp. Let's modify it. Let's click on Edit Type. For the shape, instead of thick, let's make it solid. Let's click Apply. Ooh. Let's click OK. Now what we have is a solid ramp. So let's set our visual style to realistic. The ramp, set the grade, and it's coming straight down. So at this point, stays consistent. It comes around and meets our top level here. So that's how you make a ramp. The objective is we're going to draw in some flat trusses. Then what we're going to do is we're going to modify them to adhere to the roof. Then we're going to make the material wood. Then we'll do some coping. Let's go to roof level floor plan. Let's click Insert. And let's go Load Family. I want to scroll down until we find Structural Trusses. Now I want to grab a How Flat Truss. I want to click Open. Now let's go to Structure. Now let's click on Truss. I'm going to just start drawing in some trusses. First, when I draw in, I'm going to go along my wall. I'm going to put it like right about here. We pick a point like right there. I'm going to put one here. I'm going to put one here. I'm at the end points of my walls. I guess I'll go right across the middle here, from here to here. I suppose I'll do the same on this little dip. Make sure they're at 90 degrees. Pick a point here. Come straight out. I'll do the same. I'll go here to here. I'm just eyeballing these. I'm going to put one like right about here. I suppose I'll split the difference at 24 feet here to here. I suppose I'll put one from here coming into here. I'll go from my midpoint on my truss here to here. I'm going to select this one. I'm going to type MM for mirror. I'll be mirror on that truss. I'm going to select this. Yeah, it's about where I want it. I suppose I'll do the same down here. I'll click truss. I'll go from about here to here. I'll go from the midpoint to here. I'll select this one. I'll type MM for mirror mid. I'll pick my truss here. Oh boy, it's a lot of trusses. Let's see if it's going to work. Let's go to our 3D view. So what we have here are a bunch of trusses that are ignoring the roof that's in there. So what I want to do is I want to select one of these trusses. So let's just click this one. Let's right click. Let's select all instances in entire project. Now notice that we can do some stuff to it. We can remove the truss family completely. That means it will basically explode it into separate members. We can attach the bottom or the top, and we can reset it if we've altered the profile. What I want to do is click Attach Top Bottom. So I'm going to click this. I'm going to select my roof. Oh boy. Now let's wait and see. It's a lot of calculations Revit just performed. So I'm going to zoom out and look at that. It worked. Now what I want to do is clean up the ugliness because this is not a pretty truss. So what I want to do is I'm going to go down to my roof level. I don't like the steel I-beam look, so I'm going to bring in some wood framing. We haven't done that yet. We've done steel and concrete. Let's deal with the wood. Let's go to Insert. Let's go to Load Family. I want to go down to Structural Framing. I want to go to Wood. I want to load Dimensional Lumber. Let's grab 2x10s and 2x8s. Click OK. Now I'm going to select any one of these trusses. I'm going to click Edit Type. And I'll start to change how they're comprised. So my structural framing type, I'm going to set the framing type. I'm going to go dimension lumber for my top chords 2x10. My vertical webs want to be 2x8. Diagonal webs can be 2x8 also. My bottom chords, let's beef that back up to 2x10. Let's make sure everything else is all set. Webs, click Apply. Click OK. Now I'm going to hit Escape a couple times. Let's cut a section through and see how these are looking. I'm going to click on my section button. I'm going to cut a section right through this one. I'll pull this back in, so I'm only looking at that one truss. I'm going to hit Escape a couple times. I'm going to double click on my section marker. I'm going to set my detail level to fine. I suppose I'll set my visual style to realistic so I can just see that it is in fact wood. And if we come in here, let's clean this up a little bit. So what I can do now is I can cope these so they join correctly. So if I go to my Modify tab, and if I click my Cope button, look down in the lower left-hand corner, you'll see first pick select element to be coped. So I'm going to select this beam right here. I'm going to grab this web right here. It's going to cope it to it. Do the same here. We just go right through, cope them all. Now as we come to the top, that's a little more difficult. So if I look at this, what I'd like to do is select this beam. I'm going to hover over it. I'm going to hit my tab key. I'm going to select it. I'm going to unpin it. Now I'm going to click this and I'm going to drag it up. Now I'm going to cope this beam into here. So I'm going to go Modify, Cope. Select this one. Then I pick that one. Suppose I'll tab onto this guy. Unpin him. I'm going to drag this one up. Escape. Now I'm going to go to Cope. Select this one here. I'm going to copy it to this. Now I'm going to click this again and I'm going to copy it to there. Now you can see how we can clean these items up. Generally what I do is I leave this the way it is. In this view, I'll create a call out and then I'll just fix up the call out. Pretty cool. That's how you do trusses. If you want to really get into depth in the trusses, the first thing I'd like to do is go down to my tower footing plan. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select one of these items like this pier here. The second I select it, I see a temporary dimension show up. If I select this dot, I can actually move my temporary dimension over to another spot if I'd like. I can move it in, maybe to the center of that wall. I like where my temporary dimension is at, so what you can do with temporary dimensions is I can click on this little icon here. I can make this temporary dimension permanent. And I hit escape a couple times. Now I have a permanent dimension. But what's nice about this dimension is it still acts as a temporary dimension. So when I select this pier again, this 25 foot turns blue, and I can edit that and it will move that pier. In this instance, I don't want to move this pier off this column line, so I'm just going to hit escape a couple times. Also notice that it just kind of hooked to a part of the wall that it felt like hooking to. Let's take a look at how our temporary dimensions are configured. If you go to Manage, if you go to Additional Settings, let's go all the way down to Temporary Dimensions. Now for our walls, I like to go off the faces. My doors and windows, I generally go off the center lines. Really what they should have is doors separate from windows. So I'm going to put walls on faces and doors and windows I'm going to keep on center lines. Remember this because this could very well be on the test. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to hit escape a couple times. Now I'm going to come up here and I'm going to draw a wall. I'm just going to select this wall here. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to create similar. And I'm going to pick a point somewhere along this column line and just pick another point here. I'm going to hit escape a couple of times. Now I'm going to select the wall. The base constraint will be top of footing. Top constraint, I'm going to set it up to level 1. I'll put 0 in for my base offset and click apply. Now, a couple of things. One thing is I'd like to nudge my wall down. I want it to be 6 feet off of the center line to the inside face of my wall. So I'm going to alter my 12 feet. I'm going to type in 6 feet and hit enter. So I'm going to hit escape again. Now what's going to happen, if I select my wall, I'm just going to click my copy button. I'm going to copy up, I don't know, to there. I'm going to select my wall. Now we can see we have additional temporary grips showing up. And now notice that this is coming in off the inside face of that wall. What I'd like to do is center this wall between this wall and the inside face of this wall. So I'm going to hit escape a couple times. I'm going to put actual dimensions in. So I'm going to click align dimension. First I'm going to dimension these two. I'm going to pick a point here and hit escape. Now, real dimensions and temporary dimensions kind of behave the same. So if I select my 8'6" dimension, notice that this turns blue. If I select my 8'6", and I replace with text, and I just want to say 8'-0 inches, and I hit OK, Revit's not going to let me do that. You cannot be inaccurate, which is good, Hit close and hit cancel out of here. Why is that? Because Revit doesn't know which one of these items to move. If I just select this, how does it know? Does it move it evenly? Does it move this one in? So what I'm going to do is if I select this wall, notice now that this turns blue, and it gives me an additional temporary dimension. I'm going to select my 8'6". I'm going to say 9 feet. Now it's going to move that into place. Now I can select this temporary dimension, make that one permanent. Now I have 2 increments. I can select this dimension now, and I can lock it. So what's going to happen now is if I select that wall, if I try to nudge it up, it's going to move the other wall along with it. I'm going to hit escape a couple times. So that's pretty much how you work with temporary dimensions. I think once you get used to it, you're going to love it. I'm going to zoom in on this beam here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my discipline back to structural, and I'm going to click apply. I'm going to make sure my detail level is set for coarse. How I want to deal with this beam right here. We have the beam system in place, but that's okay. We can just tag onto our beam. So what I'd like to do is if we go to annotate, and if we come all the way down here to tag, what I want to do is find beam annotations. So go ahead and click on beam annotations. Now let's just start from the top. Once we do this, we can place it on all beams in current plan view. So when we change something, it's going to replace everything. We can include beams from links. I usually like to remove existing beam tags and spot elevations. Now, let's go level beams in plan. So we can have marks on the start. We can have marks on the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this button here. And what I'd like to have is a spot elevation. It's going to be beam elevation, and I like to go relative. And we'll do not place it if the value is equal to 0. Relative base will be current level. I'm going to display elevation. I want to do top elevation. I'm going to click OK. I want to keep the structural framing tag there. And on this one here, I'm going to click the same thing. And I want to do spot elevation. I want to do the relative and the top. I'm going to click OK. I don't need a beam elevation in the middle, so I'm just going to click on this. And I'm going to go none. Click OK. Now let's go to slope beams in plan. And this is exactly how I want it. Beam elevation relative. Beam elevation relative. Now, beams that have existing host file annotations will not be re-annotated. That's fine. Let's go to our settings over here, though. Now let's look at where it's going to place it. So for our horizontal end offset, we're going to have 0 inches. That's our number 1. I want to have 3/32 of an inch in there. In my vertical offset, I'm going to go 3/32 on this one as well. I'm going to click OK. Now it's going to place this on all beams in current plan view. So I'm going to click OK. Here it is. I don't really care to have my bridging annotated. So anytime you say replace everything, I wish I could say you probably won't have to go back and delete some stuff, but certainly you're going to have to go back and delete some stuff. Now, I'm not a big fan of these tags, so I'm going to select this tag here. I'm going to click Edit Type. And I want my width factor to be 0.8. And I'm going to click Apply. Click OK. On this tag here, I'm going to select it. Now this one, I need to edit the family. So go ahead and click on Edit Family. I'm going to select this tag. I'm going to click Edit Type. And I want my width factor to be 0.8. I'm going to click Apply and OK. I'm going to load it back into the project. Overwrite. Now this is looking much better. The problem is I don't like the fact that it's labeled these. So generally what I would do is I would select the perimeter beam. I would right click, select all instances, visible in view. Now when we do that, we can go back to the Annotate tab. Now we can click on the beam annotations and notice that we now have all selected beams in current plan view. So all of our intermittent beams won't get labeled, whereas all of our perimeter beams will get labeled, at least all the ones that we have selected. So I'm going to click OK here. I'm going to hit escape a couple times. So that's basically how you do beam annotations. What I do is go down to my top of footing level. I want to come into this area over here. I want to put some text here. But before I do that, let's go to our Annotate tab. Let's look at our text settings. So if we see text, we have text types. So let's go ahead and draw into text types. Now 332nd Arial is the default text that I like, but there's others in there. Generally, I like to delete any other text style that I don't want to see my company use. 332nd Arial, what I want to do is configure this. My leader arrowhead, arrow 30 degrees, is the worst arrowhead ever. So I'm going to arrow filled 15 degrees. Fonts Arial, size 332nd, width factor, I like 0.8. I'm going to click OK. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on my text button. Now, some configuration choices. I want to leader in my text, so I'm going to click on my 2 segments button. My company standard is to always have it leader at top left and at top right, and I justify it facing the way the leader is coming from. So this is the way I like it. You might like it in the middle of the bottom. I do it this way. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this pier here. The point here. I'm going to come over here. Now I'm going to type in pier, P-1. Unfortunately, this is lowercase. If I hover over this, guess what we can do now in Revit? We can click all caps, and it's all caps. Good stuff. Now that I have it highlighted, let's underline it. We might as well make it bold. Now I'm going to click next to pier, P1. I'm going to hit enter. Then I'm going to turn my caps off. Now I'm going to say top, elevation. I'm going to say level 1, bottom elevation. I'm going to say level space 2. What I'm going to do now is I am going to select both of these, and I'm going to click on my bullet. Now, what a huge gap. We can fix that. So now I have pier P1, top elevation level 1, bottom elevation. Actually, we should say top of footing, T period O period footing. I'm going to click off of this, and there it is. Hit escape a couple times. Now let's fix this gap. So I'm going to select my text. I'm going to click edit type. For my tab size, I'm going to go 1/8 inch. I'm going to click apply. Oh, and that's a lot better. I'm going to click OK. So pier P1. Of course, we can have text without a leader, and we can add leaders. So if I select my text, I can click add left straight leader. I can drag my leader down here. I can add another one. But I can drag it way down to here. It's a little messy, but just so you know, you can do that. Of course, if I select my text and move it, all those leaders will come with it. So that's how you add text. Let's pick on the bottom here. Let's get rid of the rebar. So let's type VG. Let's scroll down the structural rebar and turn it off. Click apply. Click OK. Now, first thing I'm going to do is a string of dimensions, but before I even do that, let's go to Annotate. Look at all the dimension choices we have. Let's click our dimension drop down. Notice that these are the dimension configurations or the dimension types. Let's go to linear dimension types. Now, each test is different. The test I took has certain configuration. The test you're going to take is going to have a different configuration. Just know that whatever they want your dim style to look like, you want to come in here and set it up in here. So string type continuous. Leader type, I like the arc. No leader tick mark. I like the 20-degree arrow. We can keep going down through. I'm going to keep going down all the way till I find text. My width factor, I like to have 0.8. I want to come down to units format. So I'm going to click on my units format. I'm going to uncheck use project settings, and I like to suppress 0 feet. Click OK. My equality text will be EQ. That's fine. Let's click OK. Now, the first string is going to be align. So I'm going to click on align dimension, and we're going to go in a continuous motion, and it's going to be a continuous dimension string. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm going to pick a point off of here like this. Boop. Now I'm going to do one long dimension string. I'm going to click from here all the way down to here. But notice that once we get to a certain spot away from that dimension, it's going to kind of lock to it. At that point right there, I'm going to hit escape a couple times. Now I'm going to go to align again, but let's look at some of the choices we have. Instead of wall center line, let's go wall faces. And instead of pick individual references, let's go entire walls. Let's go to our options. We won't do openings, but we'll do intersecting walls. Let's hit OK. And I'm just going to pick this one wall. I'm going to pull my dimension string down. So it locks just above my first dimension string. And notice that it picks up all my steps. Just skip a couple times. I'm going to come over here. At 1'6", I kind of want to leader that out. So I'm going to select 1'6". I'm going to grab my text and I'm going to drag it out. So it looks like that. Excellent. While we're in here, let's put some spot elevations on this. So let's go to annotate. Let's go to spot elevation. For spot elevation, instead of project, I like to do target relative. That means it's going to pick it up from the level we're on, not the level above. Let's click on edit type though. Let's go down through and look at some of these settings. We'll keep arrow filled, that's fine. Now the symbol, we can create a symbol and we can bring it in and use it here. For the width factor, let's go 0.8. I'm going to keep going down. Units format, I'm going to click this. Let's uncheck project settings. Let's suppress 0 feet. Let's click OK. I keep bringing it down. Now my text orientation, I want it to be vertical. I'm going to keep going down and I'm going to click OK. Now when I click on this footing, pick a point here, pick a point here, pick a point there, it's 0 feet. Now if I go here, now that it's down 2 feet, they don't align with each other, which is a bummer. Pick here and here. This one's down, way down 6 feet. And so on. I'm going to have to skip a couple times. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to dimension this. So I'm going to click on align. Go here, to here, to here, to here. Pick a point off of it. Now I've got my grips. I'm going to click this grip, drag it out, click that grip, drag it out. I can even pull my 1'6" out. Just make sure you're on the grip. If you can't get it, sometimes you have to tab onto it. Now pick it. Now I can pull that out. Pretty good. Okay, I'm going to draw some walls here. So I'm going to go to structure. I'm going to look for wall. I'm going to draw a wall from here to here. I'm going to draw a wall from here to here. And I'm going to go to here. And go up to here. We got a little box. I'm going to select all of these walls. Make sure the base constraint stop a footing. Top constraint wants to go up to level 1. And the base offset is 0. Now, I'm going to select this wall. And I'm going to click copy. I'm going to click multiple and constraint. And I'm just going to copy it over. I don't care how many times. You don't have to be even. Like that. And escape a couple times. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my align dimension. I'm going to go to annotate, align dimension. I'm going to click on this center line. I'm going to come through and I want to change this to wall center lines. I'm going to pick individual references. I'm going to come to the center line, center line, the center line, the center line. Then I'm going to click on this grid line, pick a point off of it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this EQ button, and it's going to equally constrain all of these walls. Hit escape a few times. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this wall. I'm going to click the grip and drag it down. I'm going to select it. I'm going to right click and I'm going to create similar. I'm going to draw a wall from about here at a 45-degree angle up to here. Hit escape a couple times. I'm going to select this wall. Press the top constraints level 1. Okay, so I'll set 0. Now, a couple dimension types here. One is easy, one is a failure, in my opinion, but that's okay. Let's click on angular. Then I'm going to dimension from here to here, 45 degrees. Pretty easy. Hit escape. Now the next one, suppose we want a dimension going this way. Instead of tabbing around and guessing and spending a half an hour, what I generally do is I will go to the architecture tab. Now click the ref plane button. I'm just going to draw a reference plane up at 135. I'll draw another one up at 135. Sad to do it, but we have to. Go to annotate, go to align. Now tab onto that reference plane. Now tab onto that reference plane. And there it is. Now if we want to pull a dimension straight down, you click on linear. Click on that dot right there. Now come over to here. Come over to this dot right here. We can go either that way or up and down. We'll come down here. I had to skip a couple times. So there we go. That's how you dimension up a floor plan. Let's go down to level 2. Now we've already cut a couple sections. So what I want to do is I want to go to this section here. Now I want to double click on it and open it up. And notice we have a long section here. I want to select this section. I want to keep it there. I want to put a gap in segment. We can gap that out just like we can do with our grids in plan. Now what I'd like to do is come into here. I'm going to do a call out right at this column. So I'm going to go to view. I'm going to go to call out. I want to pick a window right around here. I'm going to select my call out bubble. I'm going to go around like this. But I'm not sure I like the wide rate of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to manage. I'm going to go to object styles. Now I'm going to go to annotation objects. I'm going to go down till I find callouts. If I drill into callout boundary, we have callout boundary and callout leader line. I like my callout boundary to be like 5. Click apply. Click OK. That's a lot better. So I'm going to open up that callout. I'm going to double click on this. Now I'm going to change my scale. I'm going to make it big. I'm going to make it 1.5 inches equals a foot. Now I'm going to zoom in here. My detail level wants to be set for fine, and my visual style wants to be hidden line. So now I'm going to grab my little extent box. I'm going to drag it in a bit. I'm going to drag this one up. I'll drag this one in a little bit here. Now I'm going to select my column line A. Notice that this says 2D now, and we know from previous exercises that this adjustment will only be made in this view. I'm going to grab level 2, grab my 2D, and pull this out of the way. Perfect. Now what I'd like to do is put a clip angle in here. So I'm going to select my W shape. I'm going to unpin it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this and I'm going to drag it right into here. I'm going to hit escape a couple times. Now I'm going to go to my modify tab. I'm going to go to cope. I'm going to select my beam. Now I'm going to select my beam it's framing into, and it's going to cope it out. Now we can see the beam behind, which is kind of annoying, but what I like about Revit is the fact that it's dynamic. So if we hit Control Tab, then Control Tab, if we select our section marker, I'm going to pull this back in so we can't see that beam. Now when I walk back into my section, I double click on my section, double click on my call out. Notice how that's gone. Now what I'd like to do is bring in a detail component. So if we go to annotate, notice that we have a component button here. Any component we bring in our annotate tab using the component button is going to be a detail component. It's going to be 2D. So click on component. Now click on load family. Now go to detail items. Now go to division 5 metals. Go to common work results for metals. Let's go to metal fastenings. Now we can bring in bolts. We can bring in anything we want. I want to scroll down until we find L angle bolted connection 3 elevation. So let's click open. I'm going to snap it right to the center line of that beam. Hit a couple times. Now the thing is, it's too small. We want 3 bolts in here. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to click edit type. I'm just going to change the number of bolts to 3, and I'm going to hit enter. Hit apply, and OK. Notice now that it's the right size. I like to see hidden lines behind here. So what I like to do is, if you go to the View tab, click on Show Hidden Lines by Element. So click Show Hidden Lines by Element. Now if you look down in the lower left-hand corner, you get a little bit of a command prompt. Select element to show hidden lines through. So okay, that's my connection. What next? Select elements that will show hidden lines. Oh, so I'm going to click this beam. Now I'm going to hit escape a couple times. Now that hidden line is showing through there. Pretty snazzy. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I want to put a little break line here. So I'm going to go back to annotate. I'm going to go back to component. I'm going to go back to load family. Now I just want to go to detail items, division 1 general, and all that's in there is a break line. I'm going to open. Now I'm never sure which way this is supposed to be, so I'm going to hit tab once. I'm going to put it right here, and of course it's the wrong way. Hit escape a couple times. I'm going to select this. Now I'm going to hit my space bar. I'm going to flip it around, and I can drag these little grips up. I can drag this one down. Hit escape a couple times. I'm going to bring my column line down a little bit. You bring my bubble down. That's cutting it off. What I can do now is I can click on hide crop region. And suddenly I have a pretty nice detail. So this is how you add detail components. Let's go to the View tab. Let's go to the Schedule dropdown. Let's go to Graphical Column Schedule. Warning. Some columns in Graphical Column Schedule exceeds the segment's upper lower bounds. You can add levels or adjust the view parameters. I know what they're talking about. Remember that pier we had to make 6 feet down? That's what they're complaining about. So I'm going to close out of this warning. And let's take care of that right now. So the first thing I want to do is scroll down to the very bottom and get to material types. So click on edit for material types. And let's just make it so steel is the only thing showing up. Let's click OK and see how it empties that out completely. Now let's start from the top and work our way down. View scale can be 1/8 equals a foot. The detail level, we don't have to be coarse. Let's make our detail level be fine and hit apply. Because what we're looking at is an actual representation of our columns. This is just another view in our model. These columns are live. I hover over it, look, it knows what it is. It's that 8 by 8 by 5/8 we had in there, and it knows that it's column B1. So when we select this column, we're selecting column B1. Escape a couple times. Visibility graphic overrides. If we click edit, this pertains to the same thing that any other view has. We really don't have to do anything here because none of this stuff is going to show up. So hit cancel. Discipline, of course, it's structural. Show hidden lines by discipline. Column locations per segment, 50 is fine. For grid appearance, let's click on edit. For horizontal widths, the grid appearance. For column locations, 1 inch. For level names, 1 inch. These are all fine until you get really tight levels, and you'll have to start coming in and adjusting these numbers. But for right now, it's perfect. Let's go to text appearance. Hello text, 330 seconds, 330 seconds, 330 seconds. I have to bold my title text though, but my width factor, 0.8 for all of it. Let's click OK. Include off-grid columns. So if we have an off-grid column, we can specify the units there. Text appearance, we click edit. It's the same exact thing that we just did. Click OK. The view template, none. View name, graphical column schedule, 1. That's fine. Scroll down to phasing. Let's go to hidden levels. Let's click edit. We don't care about top of footing since our columns are stopping at level 1. So let's check top of footing and click OK. That gets rid of that in its entirety, and it leaves us some room for some notes. And we already did material types. Click Edit Type. All this has to do with is view templates applied to your views. So I'm going to cancel here. Now if we zoom in on this, we'll see that, like I said, these are live. So if I select this column line B5, notice that I have all of these same exact features that I would have if I had selected in plan or elevation. So if I give it a top offset of -1, it's probably going to break something, but that's okay. Click Apply. Notice that it's live. It's an offset of -1, and that column D5 in our model is going to have an offset of -1. What we can do now is if I close out of this dialog, and if I go down on my project browser, what I'd like to do is right-click on Sheets All and go New Sheet. We're going to use this sheet here. I'm going to click OK. So now I'm going to drill into graphical column schedules. And I'm going to actually rename it here. I don't like it. I'm going to go rename. So I'm going to call it column schedule, all caps, COLUMN schedule. Okay? Let's just click this and drag it right onto this sheet. Oh, she fits perfectly. Go right there. Column schedule. So now the sheet name will be column schedule. Schedule. Click off of it. Let's call this S-500. Enter. Escape a couple times. Go into Sheets. There it is. S-500. Column schedule. So that's how you create a column schedule in Revit. To our top of footing level, what I'd like to do is I want to pick a window around all these interior piers. I'm going to click on the filter button. I want to click on check none. Now I'm going to check structural foundations, and I'm going to click apply. I'm going to click OK. Now I'm just going to put these on a different footing, so I'm going to click the drop down here. I'm going to go 72 by 48 by 18. Now I'm going to click edit type. And for my type mark, I'm going to call it F-2, capital F. Click apply, click OK. What I want to do is I want to locate this footing because it's way down below our view range. So in our properties, let's scroll down to view range, click edit, then view depth level. Let's click unlimited. Let's click OK. I'll select this footing. Let's click the drop down and put it on this gigantic one here. For some reason, there's a huge point load on this. So let's click edit type. For the type mark, let's call that F-3. Let's hit apply. Let's hit OK. Now let's just select V. So I'm going to select this footing here. Right click, select all instances, visible in view, which is all of them. Let's click edit type. And these want to be F-1. Let's click apply. Let's click OK. All right, let's make a schedule. Let's go to the View tab. Let's go to Schedules. Let's go to Schedule Quantities. For the name, let's call it Footing Schedule. Now, under the category, let's scroll down till we find Structural Foundations. Let's click OK. Now, what I'd like to do is let's add type mark. I want to add type comments. I'd like to add elevation at top. Let's move elevation at top up. So I'm going to select elevation at top, and I'm going to use my up arrow. I'm going to move it up. Now let's see what happens if we don't do anything else and just click OK. Got a bunch of stuff that it's hard to tell what we're looking at. And I put the wrong type in there, so I want to go back to fields. We can remove any fields we don't want. So I'm going to get rid of type image. I'm going to go down to type mark. Add that. I'm going to move that up and click OK. Now we see F1s. We've got weird stuff, varies. So let's filter this, because what these are going to be, these are our strip footings that we put in there. Let's go to filter. I'm going to click edit. I'm going to filter by type mark. And instead of equals, I'm just going to say contains an F. Well, add it. I'm going to go to sorting a grouping. I'm going to sort by type mark. And I want to make sure I uncheck itemize every instance. Let's click OK. That's a little better. Now for our type mark, we're just going to rename this all caps mark. For B, I want to say top elevation from 0 foot dash 0 inches. And the type comments is going to be reinforcing. Now for my reinforcing, I'm just going to say number 4 at 12 inches. EW/EF, each way, each face. When I hit enter, Revit's can say, oh boy, you're changing the type to a lot of stuff. It's okay. F1, this is what an F1 is. So click OK. And as a matter of fact, I like that reinforcing to go to F2. Click OK. F3, same deal. Click OK. Awesome. Now, let's close out of here. Let's go down to Sheets All. Let's double click on S500. Let's right click and rename it. Instead of column schedule, we'll just call it schedules. Let's find our footing schedule. There we go, schedules quantities. Let's drag our footing schedule into here. We can put it wherever we want it. We'll put it over here. Now that it's on a sheet, we can drag this out. We can drag this out. Footing schedule. Let's edit it a little bit more. I'm going to select the footing schedule. I'm going to right click and I'm going to edit the schedule. Now let's scroll down till we find appearance. I'm going to click edit. Let's put grids and headers, footers, spaces, whatever. Show title, show headers. The title text, we can make it bigger or smaller. I'm just going to put 330 seconds Arial on everything because I don't know what schedule default even means. Go to outlines. I want to go with wide lines. Now let's click OK. Let's go back to our schedule sheet. It looks a little more presentable. I'm going to select this and I'm going to move it down maybe a little closer. There we go. That's how you make a footing schedule. We already made a couple, but let's drill into it a little more. I'm going to scroll down to where it says Sheets All. I'm going to right click right here and I'm going to go New Sheet. The title block is right here. I'm going to click OK. Now I'm going to go up to Structural Plans. I'm going to throw a top of footing on there for sure. Now for my top of footing, I'm going to go down to my sheet. I'm going to rename S501 by right clicking on it and select Rename. I'm going to call it S101. I'm going to call it Foundation Plan, all caps. Click OK. I'm going to fill out a little project information.